let's have some fun with some colour theory. Let's look at analogous colours, those colours that are on the same side of the colour wheel. And let's have a look at some complementary colours. And we're just going to dive in and do some very silly fruit. Because sometimes we can just take ourselves a little bit too seriously, and I can't be accused of that. Hello, and a huge welcome to Friday Art with me, Cate Field. I release art tutorials every Monday and Friday, and I am delighted that you are here. I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Let's go. I'm going to be using some acrylic markers. These are by Arrtx. I do have a code if you'd like to check them out. If you've got your own favourites, you use those. I'm working in my other sketchbook. This is a kind of a falling apart sketchbook. I've got so much stuck in here. It's soft, smooth paper. It is no good for water, but it's brilliant for acrylic markers. And what I thought I would do, still carrying on with this idea of shape, and I thought we would do something that was something that I was doing with my students a few months ago, but they thought it was great fun, and I think you will find it great fun as well. We are going to start off with a circle, very freehand circle, which is what I want. I want a freehand circle, and we're just going to go round the edge again, make it a little bit fatter. So you could say this is a line if you like, but it's also a shape. Like I say, there's lots of crossover when we are working with the formal elements. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to get another colour. I'm going to stick to these warm orange, yellow, peachy colours. And we're going to do some segments. And this is going to be like cutting an orange or a satsuma or something like that. That kind of fruit, like that. Again, you could use a pencil if you want to, but I was just strongly advising you not to. And don't worry about it not being symmetrical. If you were actually to look carefully at the segment of this sort of fruit, you'll see that they're not symmetrical. They're very wiggly. Let's just shade in some of these colours. Don't go backwards and forwards over and over again, just very smoothly. Give your pens a shake so that the ink, the paint inside just doesn't go too blotchy. If it does go blotchy, just do another coat. I'm doing all of these the same colour, but I'm going to go over in a moment just to give it a little bit of texture. And texture is another formal element, but I'll do another tutorial on texture because it can be a little bit confusing, because texture can be something that you actually feel, so it feels rough or smooth, for example, or fluffy, or that kind of thing. But it can also describe how something looks. So the actual surface would be smooth because it's paint or pen or ink or something, but you have the illusion of texture. So I will do that. So that's our first one. It's very messy, and that's fine. I'm now going to do another one, and as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that we are probably going to go into another formal element territory, which is pattern. This is often the thing when I'm teaching the formal elements. So for example, if I was teaching the formal elements as the first part of my A-level course, so advanced level course, so it's usually for students who are 16, 17 years old, I will frequently start with the formal elements, which is always quite funny because there's quite often a bit of a groan, because they'll say something like, oh, I've done that, I've done the formal elements, and my kind of response is fantastic. I am really pleased that you have done the formal elements, because it won't be completely new. And then of course the way I teach the formal elements and the way I encourage them to really dive into each one, they see that there's a little bit more to it than maybe something that they did when they were doing their GCSEs or when they were younger. When you start to have your shape, so I've got this shape of the cut orange, you can then really start to play with ideas. And this is what I mean by developing an idea. So you could start off with having quite natural colours, and then you could end up with making your orange blue and purple and green and whatever you want. That is the joy. But we're starting off with just this idea of the shape of the cut orange. I am going to do a few more, and then I'm going to do, on this page here, I'm just going to show you a design that's just kind of developing in my head that you might like to do as well. I started playing around with some ideas, and then I thought, well, we would start on here. Now, the whole point of this one is about exploring the two formal elements of colour and shape, because I think sometimes people can get a little bit confused with the formal elements and they think they're much more complicated than they really are. They're really not. Let's go back to my colour wheel. I know this comes out a lot. Those of you who have been watching me for some time will think, oh, she's got the colour wheel out again. But if you are new, then you might want to know about this. So we are working with what I call warm colours when I'm teaching my little ones. These are analogous. Analogous colours are the ones that are close together in the colour wheel. And when we start to put analogous colours together, they all work. It all works together. Colours that are opposite are complementary colours. We're not going to be using those for the moment, but we might just come back to it. So we are working with shape and colour. Shape could be geometric shapes, squares, triangles, circles, things like that. But they could also be what my students call blobs. So blobby shapes, they're still shapes. And we can use shapes in our artwork to create all sorts of things. So I'm kind of going on a fruit theme here. So I thought I would continue on a fruit theme. And we are going to start by doing a heart shape with a rounded bottom. So we have this sort of shape. And this is going to turn into a strawberry. Now, I am actually allergic to strawberries. I can eat anything with no effects at all, apart from strawberries. And I've been allergic to strawberries all my life, ever since I was very small, and my mum gave me a jam sandwich, strawberry jam sandwich, and I became very, very ill. And yeah, so it's slightly unfortunate because I understand that strawberries are delicious. Any other berry is absolutely fine. Raspberries, wonderful. But yeah, not strawberries. However, I do like the look of them. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to do a bit of a fun strawberry type design here. Starting off with a heart shape with a round bottom. This pen, I probably should have given a better shake, but I can do another coat on that. I still want to keep with this idea of analogous colours now, rather than just sort of go straight in with the red strawberry with a green leaf. I'm keeping this as a bit of a fantasy painting, sort of drawing, doodle thing, that. And so my strawberry leaf is going to be pink. When we are playing around with ideas, and I would encourage you always to play with ideas, then don't worry about what something is supposed to look like. I kind of think that we can get very stuck when we are constantly trying to make something look realistic, for example. So I'm going to do a smaller kind of fat little strawberry here, putting these down. I really do encourage you to play. It's so important. And when I'm teaching my classes, I will get the children to play, the young people and the older adults, because I do run classes for older people. I run an art club close to where I live, and they're very lovely. The class has been going for 6 months or so it's quite new, and they all decided quite recently that they wanted to be my art students, like the children, which was very sweet. And a few of you on here have also said that you want to be art students because you never got a chance to go to art school or go to art college. So yes, you are my lovely students. So play, my lovely students. Yeah, so that's you can see where we're going with this. When you are thinking about the formal elements, don't kind of worry about it, but also don't think like some of my older students do. Think, oh, no, I've done that. I've done the formal elements, so I don't need to do it again. No, even when we are really old, like I am, and putting together ideas for a collection, for an exhibition or something like that, I am still using the formal elements in my art. I am still thinking about them and how they're going to work. And we can learn so much through playing. Let me just move that a little bit more. It's essential. And I know that I go on and on and on about it, but it is absolutely crucial, especially if you're trying out something new. So you might have a new idea, for example. Just take your sketchbook, do some tiny little studies and see how it all works out. And it might be rubbish and it might be great. And if you're just doing tiny little studies, you can really experiment further and see what works and what doesn't. But it's also great if you're trying out a new product. So perhaps you've got a new paintbrush that you haven't used before, or some new marker pens or some new watercolour paints. Try them out. And you try them out by playing. So you could do a whole page of strawberries or oranges. Melon is quite a good fruit to play with. I might have a go with that as well. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go with this one. So by the time you are watching this, if you are watching it when it goes live, I will actually be in London. I'm going to spend a few days in London with my daughter. So that would be really nice. And my niece, and we're going to go to some exhibitions. We're going to go to the David Hockley exhibition, which is going to be fantastic. This is a very weird shaped strawberry. I might have to change. Oh, actually, I quite like it. Why shouldn't we have a quirky kind of orange strawberry? Yeah, we're going into the surreal. So yeah, so I'm going to be in London for a few days. That would just be fantastic. And go to the galleries, go to the museums. I think it's still going to be really hot, but it would be nice to go to the capital. I was born in London, but we moved, Jonathan and I moved to Dorset in 2018. I wanted to be by the sea. Well, he did as well. So we live by the sea, and it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. There we go. But I do miss London sometimes. And I've got lots of friends, and obviously my family are there. There we go. you can see where this is going. It still looks very messy, and that's fine. I am waiting for these to dry. They won't take long. I'm going to do another coat, and then we're going to put some patterns on the top. I've done another couple of coats on this one because I thought that that would just make it look a little bit better. And what I'm going to do now is to put patterns on top. And again, these are shapes. So these are like rectangles with rounded edges. And it's not sophisticated. It really isn't. And you can just play with this, make up your own patterns. You could do something that's a completely different pattern on these little strawberries. I'm just going to do these sort of marks like the pips that you get on the strawberry. You could completely change the colours, and I would encourage you to sort of really try different colours, see which ones work. I am keeping to these warm colours, these analogous colours on that side of the colour wheel. But you could just go rogue, if you like, and do something completely different. I'm going to do some more blobs on this one as well. And yeah, they can be quite random. But the idea is that you're still going to get the kind of essence of the strawberry, if you like. It's still going to be a recognisable strawberry. We're not going totally abstract on this. Yep, it might be a weird kind of strawberry and a weird kind of orange, but you can still see what they are. And this is the starting point, isn't it, of an idea. And you can use this idea in lots and lots of different ways. And I'm sure so many of you are already thinking, oh, yeah, what if I did that? Which is the best kind of question. An art teacher loves to hear that sort of question. Students saying, oh, what if? What if I did that? I love that. Love that question. Because the answer is always, I've got no idea, give it a go and see what happens. Unfortunately, the next statement for many of the adults is, oh yeah, but what if it all goes wrong? So what if it all goes wrong? What is the worst thing? It's a piece of artwork. It doesn't matter. And you might be one of those people, like many of my older students and some of my younger ones as well, who give up when you get to the messy stage. Everything has to go through the messy stage. Even the great masters, the fantastic paintings that we go and see in art galleries, everything went through a messy stage. The idea is that you work through it, and when you get to the messy stage, you go, I'm in the messy stage. I know where I am now. I need to work through it. And if that is you, then this is your teacher telling you you've got to work through it. And just embrace the mess. Keep going. It's very important that you keep going. I'm going to have a little bit more of a play on these. I'm still going to stick with this colour. I've decided that this double page here is going to be those warm colours, and that's all. On the next page, I'm going to start a composition, still using these shapes, but I'm going to change the colours, and we're going to see what happens. So on to my next page, I'm going to continue with these half circles. So I'm using the same shapes as I did before. I might put some strawberries in as well, but these are not going to be oranges now. They're going to be slices of melon, I think. that was my plan. And I'm going to be using complementary colours. So just a reminder, complementary colours are colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel. So I'm going to do shades of green and shades of sort of pink and purple. I'm just going to see what happens. So I've already started to put in the arcs of these melons, and I'm just going to have this sort of green, shades of green, kind of like a bluey green really. I think that will work quite well. You could again use a sort of a stencil or make an arc if you want to, or go around like a piece of tape, but I wanted these to be quite big and also not perfect circles. I decided I didn't want to go down the perfect geometry for this one. Let's change these, give them a bit of a shake. So when we are thinking about colour theory, for example, it's really, really helpful for you to have an understanding of what colours work well together and what colours don't. It is a matter of preference, and you can break the rules. Breaking the rules is allowed, but you have to understand the rules before you can break them. That's kind of how it goes. So I would strongly suggest that you just have a play with some doodles, perhaps like the doodles that we did in Doodle Club on Monday. So if you haven't watched that one, you might want to do that, because what I was showing, I will show you actually, what I was doing was breaking up the page into lots of little spaces, and then in those spaces you can just play with tiny little ideas, and then you don't get all frustrated about it. So tiny little spaces, and within the spaces you do tiny little doodles and ideas. You could I did these with gel pens, marker pens, and these ones with watercolours. And you can just try out ideas, it's got caught up on there, on a really tiny scale. And you can play with colours and you can play with designs. So if you haven't watched that one, you might enjoy it. So let's go back to these ones and our fruits and our melons. So got this. I'll just do something on this one just so that you can see how it kind of works. I'm going to just join that. I'm just imagining that these are segments of a lovely juicy melon. Just put that one in there, and I'm just doing these sort of pinks and greens and purples on the opposite sides of the colour wheel. Starting off with just kind of like a basic idea, and I'm going to put in some patterns on these just because it's fun. A lot of what I do is just because it's fun. Like my paintings, I'm putting together a collection for an exhibition, for a show locally, and to be honest, I'm not taking the artwork too seriously. I take it seriously enough in so much as I spend time on it and I execute the work to the best of my ability. I guess the subject matter and the nature of what I'm doing is what I mean here. Let's just move this here. I've got a new contraption for the camera, which I really like, but it's slightly restrictive. But it does work well with the colours. That's with the colours? No, that's not what I meant. With the light, that's what I meant. This is the trouble. I'm starting to get distracted, which, to be honest, doesn't take a lot. So I'm just doing these lines like this. It will continue to look a little bit of a mess for a while, which is what we expect at this stage. While I'm doing these, I'm thinking about where I'm going to put the strawberries, or where I'm going to put the slices of orange. I'm thinking it's having a bit of a cocktail theme going on here. Perhaps I'll do some little umbrellas as well. And go full on cocktail. Oh, this one's running out. Let's give that. There we go. So putting in things like this. I'm going to do the rest of those. Let's just go to this one because I just want to give you an idea of some of the patterns that I'm going to do. So I'm going to have this idea that this melon here is going to have purple pips. I'm just using the edge of the pen to make the mark because it makes an absolutely perfect pip mark, doesn't it? Look at that. So how fun is that? You could do little ones of this for cards. You could do borders for art journals. Endless possibilities. Now the other thing that you can do is to start combining your material, and I've got my gel pens here. These are kind of glitter gel pens, and I've got the same colour as this green because I just wanted to make a few marks. I didn't want to do it in sort of a darker colour or black or something like that. I just wanted to have this sort of pattern, and I thought that could be fun. All the materials I use I will list below. But as always, I strongly advise you to see what is in your cupboard. Perhaps something that you haven't used for ages, perhaps colours that you haven't used for ages. Right, I'm going to have to stop in a moment because I have 2 kittens and they've just come into the studio, and I just need to make sure that they are not up to too much mischief. Right, bear with me for one moment. Oh dear, they are very funny and very small. They're only 3 months old. We have recently acquired them and they're just delightful. Those of you who have been watching me for over a year will know that last year we lost our 2 elderly cats, Monty and Amber, within 4 weeks of each other. They were 18 years old and we'd had them since they were tiny kittens. And we were heartbroken, as we are when we lose our beloved pets. So we've left it for a year, and then these two appeared on my husband's Instagram. And so I said to him, "Oh, really? They just appeared on your Instagram?" And he said, yeah, it just appeared. And I said, that's interesting, because that probably means that you have been looking at kittens. Because that's how the algorithm works. It was very funny. And he was, yes, absolutely denying that he'd been looking at kittens. But we all knew that he'd been looking at kittens. And anyway, they were in Tavistock in Devon, which is about an hour and a half drive from where we live. So we went and got them last week. And they're just wonderful. They're called Mary and Pippin. And I will show you a picture of them, just because they're my cats and I love them. And I think a few of you are also cat lovers. And if you're not, then you just bear with us while we go, "Aw," and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's get back to these. Just putting on there. If you are in the Facebook group, I have put a photo of them in that group as well. So if you'd like to join the Facebook groups, then Open Studio or Friday Art and Doodle Club, or both of them, you are very, very welcome. But please answer the questions. There we go. Let's do that and agree to the group rules. I've had to decline a few people because they hadn't answered the questions. If that was you, please try again and then we can let you in. There we go. So I'm going to leave a little bit of white on that one, so I might put another pattern in there. But you can see how these are. They're quite fun, aren't they? And I do love this colour combination of purple and lilac and green. I think it works really, really well. And what I'm going to do is I'll do a few more in this kind of thing. So sort of layers and then the pips. And then we're going to do some orange orange slices and some strawberries as well. So I had a bit of fun doing a few more of those. And what I'm going to do now is go back to this design and then put some of these in the background. So one of the things I was thinking about, put that little clamp there, was whether to continue with the orange for the background of these or to carry on with the complementary colours. So, and I was playing around with an idea in my head, but I think I'm going to stick with the orange. I love these complementary colours. There's a few that I haven't finished off yet, but you can see the idea. So I'm not going to switch colours. I'm going to go back to my warm oranges and pinks and just start putting in some orange segments and slices. I'm going to do them freehand, and they're going to be like behind the melon slices. So and I'm going to do them freehand. You could do these with the circles, or you could use. I mean, I might do a couple with those as well. But I'm just going to see how it goes. But I do like the combination, and I think it's going to create quite a lively design. Well, we will see, and then you can let me know. But you could be thinking that you'll do this with other types of fruit. I would love to know what you're going to do. Let me know in the comments. I read every single comment. Thank you so much, everyone who takes time to like and to comment. It means such a lot. We've got such a lovely community here. I think it's really nice that we have it. I feel very honoured. So yeah, so let me know. Are you going to be doing slices of lemon perhaps, or lime? Lemon and lime would be good, wouldn't it? Let me know. Let me know what you're going to do. Or perhaps you live in a country that has really exotic fruit. That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to put in these. I've had a couple of people asking me whether I can do a Spanish voiceover, and I have looked into it because I know that there's quite a few people here from Spanish speaking countries. Huge welcome to you. And yes, we can do it. So maybe I will have worked that out by the time you are listening to this. YouTube has a fantastic language bit when we can change the language. So it won't be my voice because I do not speak fluent Spanish, but apparently the voices are quite good. So who knows? You might be hearing this in Spanish. And you can also do subtitles in lots and lots of different languages. So if English is not your first language, then hopefully you can find your language. There we go. So it's just it's so lovely connecting with people from all over the world. It's just, wow. It's yeah, just wonderful. There we go. So let me know what you're going to do, what you think, what colours you're going to do. That would be good. So you can see how this is coming together with the slices behind the melon. Now, quite often when I'm doing this kind of design, I will do black outlines, but I'm not going to on this one. I'm not going to have any black on here at all. And I think that would be quite a nice variation to some of the things that I've been doing more recently. So I'm just going to do one more, but you'll see where we're going. You'll get the idea, and then I'll show you how the finished pages finished pages look at the end. So, I can't speak Spanish. I don't speak English sometimes. There we go. Around there. It's a very kind of joyful colours that I'm putting in here. So It's looking a little bit like a cocktail menu. That's what it was reminding me of as I was doing these. So it could be somewhere very exotic rather than in the southwest of England, which is very beautiful, but it's not exotic. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with those and I will show you what I do in just a few moments. Well, I did have quite a bit of fun doing this. I like the slices behind the melons. I'm thinking that design works quite well. So this is my sketchbook. So these are just ideas. Very rarely do I finish anything in a sketchbook. A sketchbook is very much about playing with an idea, developing an idea, taking ideas a little bit further before then moving on to the canvas. So let's just go back to this one. I will, I think, I might take some of these ideas and then do more kind of a darker background. I might play around with that, and I'll pop that onto the Facebook page. I'll just do some tiny little studies, but for today, I think that is joyful enough. Well, I do hope you have enjoyed this week's Friday art. I have. I've really enjoyed using these colours. I'm going to be spending a little bit more time on my canvas a little bit later today. But if you want to do some more, look at this one up here because I think you're going to like it. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.